of the Venetian Community Development District to order. Today's Monday, August 9th, 2021. First item on the agenda is the call to order / roll call. Those supervisors that are present are Rich Bronco, Steve Kleinglass, and Richard McCafferty. On the phone, we do have Supervisor Ernest Booker. Supervisors, before moving forward, at this point, we need a motion to allow Ernest to participate and to vote during this meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Thank you. As I mentioned, Supervisor Booker is with us via phone. On behalf of District Management is myself, Belinda Blandon. District Counsel Andy Cohen is present. District Engineer Rick Schoppager is present. General Manager of the River Club, Denise Payton, will be here. She is present. I think she just stepped out. And Field Manager Keith Livermore is present as well. We do have representatives from LNP as well. Thank you. Before we move to the public comment portion, okay, Brian. We do have Brian Schwab with us on the phone as well.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Before moving forward, we ask that everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please remove your hats.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Moving forward, supervisors, the next item on the agenda is the public comment portion of the agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, as a reminder, we will limit public comments to 3 minutes per person. Our first speaker is Jill Pizarro. Jill?
I mean, it doesn't have to be, I can talk loud. Okay, thanks. You'll know I'm not well when I have nothing to say. Just 2 quick things. Looking at the package for today that was sent to the board, just want to provide a little color on the social and dining minutes. In the public comment period for the social and dining committee, I asked a couple of questions, and one of them was the average number of lunches in a week that the dining room serves, or dining room and tiki bar serves. And in the minutes, it says something slightly different and implies it's 60 in a day, which is not the answer I got. The answer I got was 60 in an average week. I think they may have the occasional day. But I just wanted to clarify that because, as you know, I sent the board a small analysis regarding how many man hours, 150 man hours, we're probably spending in a week to serve 60 lunches in a week. So I wanted to clarify that. And also clarify, I didn't ask about food trucks per se. I asked about a company called Fresh Catch, which delivers fresh seafood for you to cook at home. So just wanted to clarify that. And I did mention it to Libby Fafer, who took the minutes. I think it's just one of the difficulties with minutes. The second thing quickly, and I know Steve had mentioned that you want to cover this in supervisor comments, but I'd like to ask why we're closing. I understand we're going to deep clean the river flow. I would like to understand why we're also closing the tennis courts and the pools. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't think this is typical. And so I'm hoping somebody, when Denise gets here, maybe we can have that enlightened. Thank you.
I think we will let Denise answer that question. As far as the Social and Dining Committee minutes being inaccurate, the next meeting is this Wednesday. I'm going to suggest that you attend and that you make your comments known to Linda Catero and the rest of the group.
Okay. Thank you, Rich.
Thanks, Joe.
I think Ernest is having a hard time hearing, so if we could speak louder and use the microphones, I think it'll help.
Well, maybe I could hear them too.
Ernest, you can hear me, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Our next speaker is Tyler Cassell.
Hi, good morning, everyone hear me? Okay, good. My topic today is about the information gap. I talked to a couple of neighbors the other night. He's a summer golfer, and I said, did you hear anything about the golf club and Lenore? And his answer was, no, I haven't heard a thing. And I said, I haven't heard either. I heard a rumor about a year ago, but there's never been any updates on that. So I also said, how about the dance? You want to dance this Saturday? He said, no, we're not really dancers and we don't eat there either. He said, the food used to be good a couple of years ago, but it all changed. And it's too expensive. So we eat at home. And they said, now with COVID on the rise again, we're not going anyplace. Me too. He asked if there's anything new about the tiki bar. I said, yes, I went to the facilities committee meeting and they reduced the amount of money that they're going to spend. He said that was good because we didn't need such a large expansion. By the way, hardly any community members go to these committee meetings. There are only 2 of us at the facility meetings and 2 of us at the social dining meeting. I attended the rackets committee. There were about 6 people. I was the only one that had anything to say, and I thought we had about 250 tennis players here. So I guess people just don't attend the meetings. He also said that it was too much effort to drill down on was at our website to find out information that he wants to know. So the board, I know under the sunshine laws, you're prohibited from doing certain things. So if I ask Mr. Klein to ask about what happened at the records committee, he wouldn't be able to tell me unless he read it in the notes. If I asked Mr. Booker about what happened at the social dining committee, he wouldn't be able to tell me. Now, some of these things are on the public agenda. So there are some comments there. But whatever happened to the sunshine law session that we were supposed to have, it was canceled. Because I'd love to know about the do's and don'ts of the sunshine law.
We had it.
As I see, it's really severely.
Tyler, we had a meeting. We had a meeting. Maybe you didn't attend it. We had it.
Okay, you got some notes from that meeting I could read?
Sure.
Great, send it to me, I appreciate that. My whole point here is that there's a lack of communication. How can we cure this? Simple. Number 1, right on the agenda that we have for every meeting, right after public comment, you put a committee reports section. This is not a long section. This is to be limited by about 2 minutes each from each liaison. Bingo, 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 right there in the notes. It's easily accessible from the website. Number 2, put it in the newsletter. Have a section in the newsletter, committee reports, bingo, 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 what was said, what was done. We know what we're having. We know that we're having a taco night. We know the pool's going to be closed, but we don't know the day-to-day business of what's going on here. Now, we have the POA telling us that they're getting rid of Comcast to move to a much smaller provider without even asking us. We're happy with Comcast.
Tyler, you're running out of time.
I'm almost done.
Okay, and the POA situation has nothing to do with us.
I can
I'd
talk
say-
whatever I want to at this
You certainly
meeting.
can, but I would
Okay.
save those comments
Thank
for
you, you're
tomorrow.
taking my time. So, anyway, we have the POA doing that without even asking us whether we're happy with Comcast or not. If Vesta is looking at this community, communications with us might be a good place to start. Thank you.
I'm going to answer a few of your concerns. I'll say to you that your friend missed a wonderful time on Saturday night. They did a great job, and we probably had 60 or 70 people here. The food was great.
Good.
I don't know if anybody commented about the steak night on Thursday. Superb. Place was pretty well filled. We were with 16 people. Not a single person had a complaint. So I would encourage your friend to give the River Club a try. They're doing a nice job. As far as communication goes,
Yeah.
all of these meetings are on YouTube, like this one right now. Please tell your friends to take a look at YouTube and they can see the meeting, Tyler.
People don't want to wait for a 3-hour meeting to find out what we should be telling them in the newsletter.
We have a newsletter. We have a newsletter. Thank you.
Okay. Well, approve it. Take my comments to heart.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you. Moving forward, supervisors, with our agenda, we're going to close out on public comment and move forward. The next item on the agenda is the district engineer staff report. Rick?
I'll stand over here so Mr. Booker could hear me.
Why don't you use the mic?
Okay. And I'll borrow the microphone here also. Denise sent me a letter. There's a requirement by the city of Venice for me to certify the storm water system to the city, not to SWIFT, but to the city. And that has an effect on your taxes. So it's similar to what I do for SWIFT, but that's something I got on my list of things to do. The sidewalk flumes on Medici are gonna be done tomorrow. I have been bugging them, but weather's been pretty rough on the vendors, so. Denise also sent me the email about some drainage, the issues of the tennis. Is that on the southern bleachers?
It is. It's on, do you remember doing the ones?
Yes.
Yeah, it's in that area, but for some reason in front of the bleachers, they
Okay.
weren't done.
When I bring that vendor out tomorrow, it looks like there's a little swale that he could just continue. You got the Augustine grass that tends to grow and regenerate on itself, and that's really all it is. So it's just a fairly minor swale that would need to be done to help drain that. So I'll get him to do that also.
Are you gonna ask for them, excuse me, to, you know, the drain is a metal or concrete actual drain. It's not just a ditch, because we dug a ditch, but we're looking for the actual drain to be extended, the one that goes into the sewer system, I guess.
Okay, so it puddles across the front of it?
Yeah, what we have is the bleachers are on a concrete pad that goes straight to the tennis courts, and every time it rains, that clay washes onto that. But on the other sides, there are these metal drains that we put in that go where the water, and if there's any clay, goes down there, we dig the clay out, that drains out, and it stops. And that clay coming onto that pad has just been worse in the past few years. We wanted that drain to continue, not just as a ditch, but as a metal, it has a grate over top of it.
So the issue is more of the clay, not water.
The clay,
Okay.
yeah. And I think that part of that is also a issue with the courts. They weren't lasered where they're draining more than they should. So
Okay.
we're working on that also.
For that, I would need to actually get some numbers and bring.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bring
Yeah.
that. I also noticed there was a lot of clay in that trench. I don't know how often those get cleaned out.
They used to only have to be cleaned out twice a year. And like I said, I think that particular court is tipping. When they redid it, I don't think they lasered it right because it's draining terribly into
Okay.
those, to where now they're doing it weekly. And that should never be happening, yeah. So
Okay.
we're having them come back out to redo that, to level that where it doesn't drain into the ditches. Does that not go into the sewer system or?
It does. It
Yeah,
goes into
and that's- we
the
don't-
storm.
Yeah, and we don't want that,
Right.
so.
Right. Okay. And that's really all I had, unless anybody got anything for me.
Can you tell us the status of the pickleball court design?
The meeting is September 13th. I just had Belinda look at the ad that's going to go out in the paper, and we're going to send out the mailing to everybody within 250 foot of the parcel. Not necessarily just where the courts are going to go, with the parcel. The parcel includes all of this River Club, the area.
And Rick, that meeting's going to be part of the CDD meeting, it's my understanding, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Mr. Shepherd, any update on the shed on the planning commission?
I'm going to have to follow up with them on that. I'll have to follow up.
Okay, because we're waiting, we have to actually go to them now, right?
Yeah, this was one they were waffling a little bit. So I believe on the plans we're going to show for the pickleball, we're going to show that on that same plan.
Oh, that's, okay, all right, that works.
Okay.
Thanks, Rick.
Any other questions for Rick? Okay. Thank you, Rick. Moving Moving forward, supervisors, the next item on the agenda is item number 5A, which is the consideration of the resignation of Supervisor Carl Shorba from seat number 1. Carl has submitted his resignation to me. It is his intent to resign from the board effective today.
I think this is a very sad situation. It's going to be with a great deal of regret that we accept Carl's resignation. And I think everyone would agree that we should send him strength and grace as he moves forward. And prayers, certainly. I'll make a motion that we accept the resignation.
There was a motion by Rich. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Rick. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. So at this point, do we want to have the discussion as to how the board intends to fill the seat, which is now vacant?
And let me just brief the board a little bit.
Mhm.
I'm sure
Speak up just a little bit, please. Thank you.
we've had this discussion before, so some of this might be review, but procedure-wise, all that 190 calls out is that it's up to the board to fill this seat for the remainder of Carl's term. It does not lay out a specific process. So that being said, we need to have some integrity to the process, just like we always do when we're making a choice. But you do have some latitude. In the past, I believe, I have different boards handle it differently, but typically boards will put some sort of blast out there to the community and invite people to submit their intent by a certain date, and then you can have them come to a future meeting and hear from them and make a choice. But as I said, it's up to you as to how you want to create that process. 190 does not give any specific roadmap that we need to follow up.
My thought is, and I'll see what my fellow supervisors say, I think we should notify the community as soon as possible today, if we can, in an e-blast. Set a date for submitting a letter of intent with maybe a brief resume, and then have the board, once all those letters are gathered, we'll set a date where we will make a determination. That would be my suggestion to my fellow supervisors. What do you think, Steve?
I'm fine with that. Do we have an issue where it's summertime and we may not get the best response, or is that not an issue?
I don't know if it's an issue, but the fact is that we would be 4 members, which could cause, not that I anticipate there being anything that we're going to not be able to decide upon, but it isn't, we couldn't wait a bit, in my opinion.
Yeah,
There is no deadline,
yeah,
Right.
but as we start to talk about, there is a certain amount of just practical matters that come into play in terms of functioning.
I'm not advocating we stretch this out for months, but I'm wondering if there's any good reason to just wait a little bit. We're in August. Maybe some of our seasonal people will be back in October. Who knows with what's going on now? Maybe we should, do it what you say and see what the field brings us and go from there.
Well, once we start that in motion, if we say, submit a letter of intent by such and such,
Yeah.
we've crossed the Rubicon there.
Right.
We gotta continue. However, if the feeling is that maybe we should wait until the September meeting to open it up, because more residents will be coming back in October or something like that, we can do that. I mean, I'll go along with whatever the rest of the board wants to do. I don't see it as an extremely urgent situation, because we are 4 members and we can.
I mean, you do have, keep in mind, you have your budget public hearing coming up at
Yeah.
your next meeting. I don't know how that plays, good or bad, whether you want 4 or 5 people or whatever, but just that's another factor to add to the discussion.
Aren't we in danger of having problems with quorums, though? Right? I mean, look at us today. We're, if one of us three was sick or whatever, not here, we wouldn't even be able to have a meeting.
Well, once we get into September, we won't have a problem with quorums. That's,
Well, but
I think Mr. Booker has something he wanted to interject.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ernest.
Yeah, whatever process if we decide to create, obviously it has to be fair and open and allow every interested party to apply and submit their credentials. I would note that there's a lack of serious finance skills on our board. We have educators, we have lawyers, we have managers, and we do need someone with finance experience, I would say, to help supplement our role with that in mind. So I don't see the urgency of moving forward with this prior to October. And I agree with the chairperson this would allow our snowbirds an opportunity to come in. We may decide to have a public forum and interview people in public. I don't know. But I just would cite that we do need someone with finance experience. Carl had managerial experience and some finance, and we need to have someone that could fulfill that type of role. That's my concern.
Okay, so what do we want to do? Do we want to,
well, let's get the ball rolling.
I'm sorry?
I-
Well, I have a suggestion, perhaps.
Okay.
I think we should put an announcement out that unfortunately Carl had to resign and let the community know that as a gesture. And in that announcement, it could say, in September, we'll be soliciting names. Please be thinking about this. That gives us a month, at least, for an opportunity for some of our seasonal people to come back. And I hear a lot of criticism that we do certain things during the summer when not everybody is available. Whether that's valid or not, we could debate it. But I don't think another month is going to hurt us. That would be my suggestion.
I don't have a problem with that.
I don't either.
You okay, Rick?
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Okay, so how about if we notify the community that there's going to be an opening, and then in September, we'll send out a letter to submit a letter of intent by a certain time, and we'll go with it from there.
Sounds like a good plan.
Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
I would support that. Do we need a motion for that?
No.
No, I think direction is sufficient.
So I'll work on that with you today, Keith. Okay.
Should we keep it in mind? Shouldn't we have some type of motion? I would like to see honoring Carl's service on the board, recognizing him.
Certainly can.
Of course we can.
And saying thank you, job well done.
Sounds like you just made it.
Usually these boards I represent, that's what they normally do.
Well, certainly we're all saddened by this situation, and Carl put his soul into the job during the time that he was here, and even when things became difficult, as we all know, he was here for as many meetings as he possibly could, and when it got worse, he continued on the phone. And I personally thank him for the good humor that he has always expressed. Even most recently, in a phone conversation with me, we had a couple of laughs. So he's maintaining his humor, and I think that's good. And as I said before, we all send him strength and prayers during this very difficult time.
So That's all I'm saying. Let's put that in the form of a motion. Thanking you for his job. Well done and everything else.
Is that, if it's okay with you, Supervisor Booker, we can put you down as making that motion, and then we can get a second and have it reflected in the minutes.
Is there
Yeah, I
a
second that idea.
Sure.
Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor, please state aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
One last thing, Carl was preparing a newsletter, so we would need, for someone else
Yeah.
to take on that role. Mr. Kleinglass, are you inclined to take on that role?
Right now, I can't. I got my hands full with the Tiki Hut.
What about you, Rich?
I'll do the best I can with it.
And I will help you in any way I can.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
and I believe David Lutsky has the template.
Well, Carl has the template.
That Carl,
Yeah,
well, yeah,
David has
David
it,
and Carl have
has
the
it.
template.
I'll arrange to get that from either David or Carl or both.
So moving forward with our agenda, the next item on the agenda is item number 5B, which is the review and discussion regarding the CDD mask guidelines. I'm sure the board has seen recent communication from Denise regarding the CDC guidelines and possible changes. Denise, do you want to review this with the board?
I have been in contact with clubs in the area, about 22 of them in Sarasota and about 80 in Naples. And when the new CDC guidelines came out, it was actually days before a survey went out saying, how are you guys doing masks? And everybody was like, yeah, we don't require them at all. We say if you're not vaccinated, wear them, but nobody wears them. And everybody was pretty casual about it. The day after the CDC guidelines came out saying that they felt even if you are vaccinated, you should wear masks inside again. Immediately that chatter changed and everybody went back to number one, mandated masks for staff. That was instant in about 95% of the clubs. And there were probably a dozen that I received that mandated them for all members. In this community, I had a member call me, her and her husband had been vaccinated. They both contracted COVID from another couple that had been vaccinated. At that time, their symptoms were not severe. And we had all heard that if you're vaccinated and you get COVID, it's not as severe as if you hadn't been vaccinated. So in light of that, I felt there needed to be a discussion of whether to go back to inside the River Club mandated masks for every member.
I'll say, and we've had this discussion by email, as the general manager of the club, this board had given you authority to do whatever necessary to open the club, and I think it's implied with that to do whatever in terms of, I don't want to say closing it, but more restrictions. So let's be realistic and look around. I called the vet this morning to see if I could get one of my dogs in. They're closed because of COVID, okay? We see it happening all over. Florida is the poster child for COVID infections. So I think that it would certainly be a consideration to strongly suggest that we wear masks, if not to mandate it in the River Club. But we have my fellow supervisors here as well for their comments.
And let me just, the policy decision is yours, but from a legal standpoint, because everybody's reading the paper too about Governor DeSantis and what's allowed and what isn't and stuff. I do feel that should this board decide that they want to implement a mask mandate in the River Club, I believe we have that province. So that's up to you.
And I will mention also that there's one club in Naples that is mandating vaccines for all staff. That's a tough one. I'm not leaning to that, mainly because it's not FDA fully approved at this time. but that's how strong some of these clubs are moving. Personally, I feel we need to go back to mask mandate. And the reason I did not do it this past week was because I was out of town, and towards the end of the mask mandate that we had previously, those who were vaccinated started coming in unmasked on their own before we put the signs up, or the CDC had that recommendation, and it became very difficult to police all of that. So I wanted to be here when that policy changes so that I could help with that. And there will be pushback. Those who are vaccinated are, frustrated. We went through the vaccination. Now you're going to make us wear masks again. But I feel in light of what's happening, and it's, you're vaccinated, you get it lightly, but what if somebody gets it and their 12-year-old child is at home? They're not vaccinated. You can't vaccinate the children. So there's this whole nuance.
What are you asking for? Let's get to the chase, please.
I'm not really asking, as Mr. Bracco said, it is a vested decision, but I just wanted a discussion to see if I had the support of the board that we go back to mandated masks inside the River Club.
For employees and for guests.
And for guests. Right now, employees, I went ahead and.
Which is, you're right.
And it would have the same restrictions. You come in for dinner, you take your mask off because you're sitting for dinner now. But when you're up and moving in the corridors amongst the general public, back to that. Tennis courts, no mask. The gym, we would go back to 50%. That's going to start probably within the next day or so, and no masks in the gym because it'll be social distancing because of the difficulty with that. Just wanted to have an open discussion, could not really do that via email.
So you're talking about mandating masks for anyone entering the club. If I come in to speak with Keith about something, a resident comes in to make a reservation, whatever, masks would be required. We'll put masks at the door again, as we did previously. However, we're talking about inside here, again, excluding the outside area and all of that sort of thing.
Correct.
Okay. What do you think?
If you're watching what's going on in the news, and particularly in Sarasota County, we're in the epicenter of Florida right now. Sarasota Memorial is chock full. Almost every institution now is talking about requiring masks, and the discussion about full vaccination is in the discussion. So I think that it's in our best interest, given the age of our community, our residents here. I don't see what the big issue is about saying to people, for all of our protection, we're asking you to wear a mask. I'm involved in another organization. We not only are asking people to wear a mask, we're asking for certification of vaccination. I'm not suggesting we do that here, but I do suggest that masks be worn properly, be the new standard until we see what's going to happen.
I would support that.
I know. It is a difficult thing to do.
Yes,
to go
exactly.
backwards. It's
Yeah.
backwards.
It's backwards.
It really is, and we thought we were out of this, and we could see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it just has, it's frustrating.
The major
beyond-
employees in the area, starting with Publix, Target, I mean, we could all read it in the newspaper. They are asking their employees all to wear masks once again. When I spoke with Keith earlier this week, when the agenda came out, what should we say on there? And I said, I think we should say that they are, what we use the term, strongly recommended or something like that. And I thank those folks who have read that information and agreed to go along with it. It is going backwards, but you know what? The numbers don't lie. And this is not a political situation. This is reality. And it's for the health and welfare of everybody else.
I guess I would say I reluctantly agree.
As do I. It's
Yeah.
reluctant.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
For a limited time, let's.
For a limited
I agree also.
All right.
And, this isn't rocket science. There on the part of trying to save lives.
I think the other part.
I would agree with the chairperson as well as Denise.
The other part of it is we have a double standard. We're telling our employees they need to be masked. What about our residents? I don't think we should have two standards here.
All right, thank you.
Okay,
So effective.
The email will go out today,
okay.
and we'll get signs put up, provide masks again.
Masks available again?
Denise, were you gone?
I was, I had it on my email thing, it was a last minute, my mother's not.
I thought you were going to notify us when you were
I
gone.
know, I apologize, and once I got there, I had hardly any email access, it was terrible, and I was able to get one or two out, but I apologize for that.
Is that why, like Chris Vignola responded to the one question about the cleanliness of the gym and all that?
Yes,
I figured that, but I didn't know. Okay.
We had some email contact about this as well,
yeah.
and Denise explained her situation.
Okay, thank you. The next item we have on the agenda is item number 5D, which is the consideration of the proposals for the sound system.
Did we miss C?
The next skip?
Landscape.
Actually, it's 4C, which is the consideration of the Benito landscaping project.
I'm really unhappy. The architect promised me this last week, delivered it this morning. So
And
one of
this
my
isn't-
favorite things that
I know.
you know,
This isn't one of the best copies.
so I have not seen it. If you want to just take it today and we can deal with it the next time when we have
I
time to
think
look
that
at
would
it.
be,
Don't
that
you think
would be
that's a
fair.
better way to go?
let's,
No big deal.
let's table this.
And
until
then
next
Ernest will be here to see it in person. So
week. Okay,
I suggest we table this for the next meeting.
I'm with you.
But just, I want to make sure that I'm very unhappy.
I just saw the number, you definitely should table this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll put this on the agenda for the next meeting. We do have Brian on the phone. I don't know if there was any questions regarding the last field inspection report. We also have LMP here, before we move forward. Does anybody have a question regarding the last field inspection report? Any questions for LMP?
No, I thought we covered those. Well, the inspection report, I thought we covered
Just
when he
in
was
case.
here. Oh, okay, I got you.
Any questions? None?
I don't have it.
Anything for LMP?
Down the road, at some point in time, I would like to see us discuss whether or not we want to continue having monthly reports from John Tolberg, or if we might want to go quarterly. I brought this up before. Those reports help us, I know, but I'm also become aware that LMP has at least one or two monthly reports that they do internally. And I think if they made those available to us, and then a quarterly report from John Tolberg, I think we'd really cover the bases and save ourselves some money. I think we're overdoing it with the monthly reports. Just something for us to think about. I mean, it's already in the budget, but
Well,
if we don't
if you
spend the money,
We don't have to spend it.
we don't spend the money, so much the better. But I can ask LMP maybe to make a presentation somewhere down the road about their monthly reports.
Well, maybe we could hear from them once a month. You know, a verbal, does that sound good?
Perfect.
Yeah.
We could try that.
Okay. Thank you.
So Brian, thank you for attending.
All right, appreciate it. Have a good day, board.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we're gonna move to item number 5D, which is the consideration of the proposals for the sound system. We did have this on the agenda at the last meeting, and the board asked for Denise to go out and seek further proposals. I don't know if you had a chance to.
We've asked and have received nothing. We're going to, I'm gonna move further south, Fort Myers, see if there are some people there. The local ones just are not responding at all.
Did you try, like Best Buy for a sound, that kind of place?
I don't know if they do the installation. It's not the purchase of something. What it is the wiring of the speakers to the new thing. I don't know if they do that kind of stuff. I guess it never dawned on me.
And the other resource might be simply to ask Vesta if they have any companies that they've dealt with that do this sort of thing. And I'm wondering if, in as much as it's construction related, in some ways,
Yeah.
if,
I've got a name and a source that I'll talk to Denise
okay, fine.
privately about.
I mean, there's got to be other people.
We have some other experience with this, and these vendors right now, because of Zoom and COVID, they're all overbooked, and not only that, when they give you a quote, it's
top
so-
dollar right now.
But I have perhaps a source, and
Okay,
I'll take it on with Denise.
Appreciate it.
all right.
No problem.
Thank you.
Yep, happy to do it.
Okay, so we'll table this and move forward. The next item on the agenda is the review, comparison, and consideration of the Richmond course proposals for repairs. This is actually for the light post, correct, Denise? Light post maintenance?
Light
Well, it's both,
post
right?
and fence, both are on here.
Which we're going to do first.
Let's go with the fence since that's the first part in the tab. What I put in there was the original quote, which was a year ago, and we finally got, by the time they got the quote and we had board meetings and got the contract, I believe they were presented with the contract in April of this year. And we let them know, since it was during the height of the season, we're gonna wait until the summer to do it, so they didn't sign the contract. We started pushing in June to have them sign the contract, and he delayed, and finally we know why, because he said the materials have gone up. So the original quote for the fence repair was $11,600. The new quote that has come through is $27,800, more than double. And that's repair. The original quote, I think, for the replacement of it was 30-something, so I can't imagine what the replacement is. And we've reached out to other fence companies because we thought, okay, Richmond does tennis fence, but they're not a fence company, so they don't have a supply. Maybe a fence company would have supply where it's the old price or something, and no response at this time. We're going to keep pushing, trying to get somebody to get out here and give us a quote. Apples for apples, it will be the exact information we have from Richmond for them to do, so it's a good comparison.
Okay. Denise, I think Keith was reaching out to a fence company because we were talking about doing something along down by at the end of Portofino.
Right.
Maybe we could take a look at that company and see if they're interested in doing it.
Okay, I had 3 quotes.
Okay, so there's
Yeah, give me those,
3 companies that you
Yeah.
could get involved, but
This is ridiculous.
yeah.
there may be a message here from Richmond.
It's unfortunate, everything.
I think there's some urgency here with
Yes.
with this. It's been kicked around for a while. I hear from some more than reasonable people that
It's bad, yeah,
it has to be attended to.
yeah.
So with that in mind, I'm going to ask you to reach out to these companies as soon as you can. Let's get a quote and let's get this done, but not necessarily at $28,000.
Yeah, almost
And
triple.
we will go out and try and do what we can with wire, pulling any of the sharp edges back, to keep it as safe as we can in
Okay.
the meantime.
All right, but you're gonna call those companies that,
Absolutely, I'll give
okay.
you 3 names. They may be some that we've talked to, but if they got you quotes, hopefully they'll jump in and give us some too. The other part of this was the light pole maintenance. Now, the light pole, I thought, well, they're not going up because pretty much it's labor. It's not that much. It's a little bit of paint, a little bit of chemicals. The original quote for the light pole maintenance was
13.5,
yeah,
and now it's
13,000.
15.7.
500, now it's 15,700. I've talked to my maintenance supervisor, and he agrees that we can probably do this job ourselves. We won't be able to complete it during the closure, but we can get started so that a couple of courts will be open when we reopen. We're getting a boom truck anyway to do the towers. We would take it over there. We have all the LEDs. We've been switching out the lights to LEDs ourselves because the quote was so high on that, that what we'll do is we will just sand down. That's what they were going to do. They weren't going to sandblast. They were going to use a sanding thing and then this degreaser chemical to make sure it was clean enough. And then I think it was a Sherwin-Williams.
Sherwin-Williams, yes.
And get that paint for us. My thought would be we can save anywhere from $7,000 to $10,000 at least on this. And then if we have to go with the more expensive fence, that helps a little bit there. So we will, if the board's okay with that, attempt to do this.
Definitely.
It may not be 100% what Ritzman could have done, but it should hold for 10 years, you know, something.
Okay, I think that's an acceptable alternative. One of the things I noticed, because we had gone back and forth about a warranty, even on the new quote from Ritzman, there's no mention of a warranty in here, and we had wrestled on that issue a couple of times.
Yeah.
So,
Great. Well, I had drawn a contract
yeah,
that included some of those provisions in it, but as Denise said, it never got executed.
Yeah, they
It was
wouldn't
never
sign,
signed.
they didn't sign it because it wasn't happening at that they were gonna sign it when the time came, and now.
And you remember when first started talking about this, I did ask whether Ritzman was actually painters, you know, whereas the other
Right.
bids were
Right.
from painting companies.
Right.
Personally, I was much more comfortable with having a quote painting company do it than,
Yeah,
so I think having it done in-house makes a lot of
I
sense.
can't
you
remember,
feel you
but
can do it?
I think they were like 5,000 more or something,
Right.
the one that was gonna sand.
Well, that,
blast.
at
The
one
that
time it
did
included the
mailboxes.
River Club parking lot lights too,
I
Yeah.
think so, yeah,
way back when.
yeah.
Okay,
how are we?
good
with-
idea.
How are we insurance-wise with having our maintenance people 30 feet off the ground in a boom truck?
I assume the workers' comp, our employees' workers' comp,
You wanna check?
we're insured whenever we have accidents, you know.
So we're covered all around with that.
I don't wanna say yes to that comment.
Yeah.
I'd rather go back and find out.
Yeah.
Make myself known. Workers' comp coverage should be provided through Vesta because he's obviously a Vesta employee.
Right.
But I will check with general liability,
Okay.
on this and get back to you.
The other question that I have, because there is some electrical work being done here, is this something that where we need a licensed electrician house? I know that's just basically a plug-in.
Yeah.
Are we required to have, in as much as this is a public building, are we required to have a licensed person do it?
If a license is required, then we are required to have a licensed person do it. But I don't know whether a license is required. I mean, if they're just simply, I'm
In-house.
simplifying this, if they're just simply unscrewing one bulb and putting a new bulb in, then it's probably okay.
It's kind of that simple.
Right.
You know,
They are screw-in bulbs, they're about this big, they're screw-in bulbs, and I think they're unplugging the ballast or something like that.
Might be something worth checking with Rick on.
That's great.
okay, why don't you ask, and if it is,
And certainly, if it's something that requires some special licensing, then yes, we are a public entity, we need to comply with all laws.
Right.
If there isn't, then so be it.
okay. So you're gonna look into that.
I'll ask for it.
And I'll check with Aegis as well and I'll report back to the board.
Thank you.
So moving forward, the next item on the agenda is item number 6A, which is the consideration of the operations and maintenance expenditures for the month of June 2021. This is behind tab number 3 for your review. The expenditures for the period of June 1st through 30th total $182,950.96. Any questions regarding the O&M?
There's, I do have a question. On page 3, about 5 items down, it's the guardhouse phone and internet for June 21st. And then we have it again on the next page. Guardhouse phone and internet for June 21st. Are they two different? Do we have two phones in there?
Which vendor? Rich?
Is Frontier, the one on page,
So we have a bill for the City Delegate and we also have a bill for the guardhouse.
okay, this is, okay, one is Comcast and one is Frontier. Or one is Florida Power and Light.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I have one.
Go ahead.
Okay. I guess this predates my entry on the board, but John Harrison person, what, there's a law firm, they're representing us in what manner?
They're representing with regards to the pickleball. They're the conflict counsel, Patty Petra,
Patty Petrov, right?
that was representing the district with regards to the ongoing discussions with the city. You have two special counsels, the Di Dietrich law firm and specifically Patty Petra representing the district with regards to the pickleball. And then you have the Lobeck and Hansen law firm representing the district with regards to the roadway litigation.
Okay, I understand. No problem.
On the very last page, is the maintenance of the fountain, is it weekly or is it monthly? It says weekly entrance fountain, but they bill us once a month?
They service once a week,
They
actually.
service weekly and they bill us once a month. So this 150 is for 4 visits, not for 1 visit.
Correct.
Keith, our welder went up to $100 now on a mailbox.
Yes,
He was $50.
75.
that was 75.
75.
75, and now he's 100.
Correct.
Many, well, those that we can get are put back on the homeowner through the homeowner's insurance
Right.
Ones
or
that we can find.
ones that we can verify.
Right.
So some just happened and no one saw it. Right.
99%.
Any other questions? There are no questions, thank you.
I will take that.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is a review of the June 2021 financials. This is behind tab number 4. I did not receive any questions regarding the financial statements.
I don't have a question. I do have a suggestion, though.
Sure.
Can we number those pages?
I'm not the only one who misses numbers.
I have to sit there at the printer one at a time to pull them out. If we number them, it'll be a lot easier. Thank you.
Got it.
And it's not really a question, more for Denise. Wasn't there an error on the meals and entertainment that was going to be corrected? And
I don't think they know how to do that at this time. I'd asked them before, and you would think it would be just, because this comes out of a computer. I don't know if they know how to finagle that. I'll ask them again. if
Okay,
they
but
can switch
I'm
it.
correct. There was an error and it was
There
supposed
is
to
an
be
error.
corrected and it
Yeah,
hasn't been yet.
It
That's all.
was a $700 error, I believe it was. that
Yeah,
went into
again,
this.
it's small potatoes, but it just looks bad.
Yeah, it does. It
Right.
does. I'll ask, I'm meeting with them on Thursday, and that'll be one of the things I ask. if
Yeah,
we can
that would be
figure it
meals,
out.
that's the meals and entertainment line.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I had. I move we accept these as presented.
I have one inquiry on investment summary. The accounts and all. Has the finance committee reviewed this matter? Chairperson,
Has the finance committee reviewed the financials?
Maddox Merchants Bank of Indiana, Independence Bank, and Flushing Bank, and all. Has the finance committee had an opportunity to peruse the investment accounts and make any recommendations?
All I can say is that copies of the financials go to every member of the finance committee, but short of a meeting, I can't answer your question fully. However, based on previous meetings, the answer to your question would be yes. They do. The current ones, though, I assume, of course, everybody got copies. I assume everybody has reviewed them.
I move we accept as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We're now going to move forward with our consent items. We do have 2 items for consent by the board. These are behind tab number 5. The first one is the Bracket Sports Advisory Committee meeting minutes of June 14th. The second one is the Social and Dining Advisory Committee meeting minutes of June 9th, 2021. We're just looking for a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Is there a second?
Second. Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please state aye.
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 Thank you. We're going to move forward with staff reports. Andy, do you have anything to report?
Just one item, just wanted to let the board know that, I know I've missed a couple of meetings, but unfortunately I do have a conflict for the next meeting. Regina will be here in my place.
We like her.
Well, good.
Unlike you. No, wait.
I understand. And after that, you'll probably have me again, so sorry.
Oh, jeez. Good.
I'm glad to answer any questions. So.
How convenient you're not going to be here for the public hearing. Any questions for Andy?
It's gonna go smooth.
Any other questions? Denise?
Thank you.
No, we discussed the mask mandate, and the only other thing, the Chris Vignolini, food and beverage manager, stated that we had a member who became very weak and could not walk out, and so we got one of these chairs to roll him out. So we're going to purchase a wheelchair. So if any of our members have issues,
I will donate a wheelchair to you.
thank you. That would be wonderful.
Gets it out of my garage.
All right, that works out great. And that's it.
Okay.
Any questions for Denise?
I have a question about the air conditioning.
Yes.
I was here on Thursday night and on Saturday night, and this, again, I'll say what I said before about a great job all around, in my opinion, both Thursday and Saturday in every respect. However, the air conditioning in this room is hurting, and to me, that's a big concern because we spent a great deal of money with one of my favorite companies
Yeah.
getting this done. And I say that, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, today it's cold.
Well, there's some fans
Yeah.
supplementing all of this.
There's not much of a room.
But it was Saturday night with the number of people here and the, you know, the music and the dancing and this and that. It
I
was,
turned off these 2 because of
The
the
noise,
audio. The
right.
audio will pick
Picks
it
it
up
up,
and it'll be
yeah.
very difficult to transcribe.
Right.
I wasn't sure if it was because of the carpet, that they were drying the carpet probably, but I wanted to make sure that we have clear audio.
Believe it or not, this $50,000 air conditioner, the compressor's out. They're getting me quotes for the compressor.
what about, didn't we have a warranty on this?
They're checking the warranty, and they felt that the warranty was already out. The air conditioning company is checking that. And I
Okay.
said, if it does not have one, I need a quote. Don't fix it without a quote. It's a compressor. This new air conditioning company, he says this air conditioner is going to be nothing but trouble. And we found it's been nothing but trouble.
This
since
is
we
Arctic
got it.
360 that we're using or whatever?
Yes, we're
No.
going through 360 at this time.
Right, but it
And
was honest air.
it was Honest Air that originally put it in. This was a custom built on the
Mhm.
recommendation of Calps Plus that this particular air conditioner be put in. And so we ordered it, and as you know, it took forever.
Mhm.
Got it in, and I would say it has broken down 15 times since we've had it, with issues. Replace this board, replace that. It's very computerized. We can't really, it's not one where we can say, oh, turn it up or turn it down. When it's freezing in here, you have to go upstairs to the air handler. There are computer codes. You usually call the company and they tell you the codes to put in. It's not a good system. So we are checking into whether or not it still is under warranty for that compressor.
Could we check that contract, Andy, that was written with them? It was only about, it's less than 4 years ago.
It was 2.5 years
Yeah,
ago.
during my term around the
See,
board.
the warranty is not from the company. The warranty is from the manufacturer.
Yes,
So
exactly.
whoever the manufacturer
Right.
is,
the
any air
compressor
conditioning
that's-
company
Yeah.
will get paid on
Yeah.
a warranty. Can I also suggest that we don't use the company that did this installation for any reason at all? I mean,
No, we
because they,
have not. We've not, we stopped using them well before COVID. I
Okay.
can't remember, when we had these put in, there was a, whoops, we forgot to add the $5,000 electrical.
I remember
So
that.
after this was done, we pretty much,
That was another shovel on
yeah,
Nail in the coffin.
nail in the coffin for them. How could you do a it was more than $50,000 job and
by the time,
forget
exactly.
$5,800 in electricity?
Yeah.
That was an attempt to
That's.
get
when
some
we
extra money
stopped.
out of us. in a
Yeah,
way.
that's when we
Okay,
stopped using
so you're
that
gonna-
particular.
You're aware of the situation here and,
Yeah. We're waiting for verification, and Andy, if you could check too, because the company may very well say, yeah, I doubt it, when our contract may say differently. There's
No, I've
unfortunately
already
a
asked
trust
Belinda
issue
to
there.
get me the signed agreement. And I have
Okay.
the other in my computer, but I want it to be executed.
Okay, great, thank you.
okay,
So,
and
the
you'll
bar
keep
one was
us,
repaired, it went down also, and it's been repaired.
okay, and you'll keep us aware of what's going on with them, right?
Yes, as soon as I find out, I can email everybody.
Okay, thank you. Were you also going to talk about the closure of the club?
Right.
And the question about the outside activities and whatever? Could you?
Yeah, we try and close our club every year. Last year we didn't because we were closed in March for COVID, so we didn't close in August. And the reason it is a complete closure is because the staff does most of the work. And trying to do that while we're open, especially now with such short staff, is nigh to impossible. So we're closing everything. And we have people working on the courts, we have people working at the pool, we have people working inside. The kitchen is totally gutted and all equipment is cleaned and then put back in. Painting inside that needs touch-up painting that we do, power washing. And because we have power washing hoses and everything to try and say, oh yeah, step over this and go into the pool, we just shut it down. We don't have the staff to monitor people. And I believe if your pool is open, your locker rooms have to be open. So we try, I believe tennis is going to open early because he actually set up an event on Saturday. Everybody else is staying closed till Sunday night. So they will be opening early. If it comes out that, wow, the pool is done ahead of time, we can reopen and we will do that as we go along.
There's.
This is the same procedure that has happened in the past.
Right.
This
Yeah,
is
nothing
not new.
No,
Right.
no, it's not.
But it didn't happen last year because of COVID.
Yeah.
Because of COVID. So
But there's a number of palm trees out there that need to be trimmed. And this would be the perfect time to have it done. Can you coordinate that with LMP?
Okay, and I think they
Because I know Keith is well aware of it, but those big I think they're the majority palms.
Jewel.
If they're going to be trimmed, why not do it while the pool,
Right way, yeah,
But
so they can get out.
you
there.
need to get on that between the two of you as soon
Already
as
had that
possible.
conversation.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we're finishing up the paver work, as you remember.
Oh, you
we
and your
had
pavers.
that- I know.
The paving maven.
We had that one sinking area. They did that. They went around to the spa. They've come around on the lap pool. And a lap pool issue we had, he noticed that the ground was very wet and he thought, we've got a leak. And I'm like, yeah, there ain't no leak in this pool. We just had it marsided. So my concern was the locker room right there was somehow leaking. And anyway, our maintenance guy found out it was the gutter. As it rains into that, it's seeping out and so they cleaned it, fixed all that. And they just have a little bit more to do, so the pavers will be
Okay.
all done and more lifted up and secure. We're not replacing any of them at this time.
At this time.
At this time, wait till the tiki bar comes, then I'll be able to have time to do that.
So Denise, we're gonna put some emphasis in trying to get the pool area opened as soon as possible.
If we can.
If you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just given the weather and summer and people using it.
And somebody had a concern that it was mentioned on a regular e-blast with a menu or something like that. But we've actually mentioned it several times. We've mentioned it in the newsletter. What we're doing is putting it in people's head. don't invite your company down this week. The club is closed. So there will be an e-blast specifically for the closure that will go out towards the end of the week, and then a reminder on Sunday.
Okay.
It might be wise to tell them a little bit of what you're doing.
Yes,
You know.
it's going to be detailed.
Right,
This
good.
is what we're doing and how we're doing it, and, you know, carpets shampooed, et
I think
cetera.
the pool is important because red tide, you can't go to the beach.
Right.
So if we can get that opened as soon as
All right,
reasonable.
I will
that would
talk
be
to my
great.
maintenance staff
Thank
about making that the first priority, the
Okay.
papers and the
Great.
cleaning out there, et cetera,
And the palm trees.
and palm trees.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for the explanation.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Denise?
I have one.
Go ahead.
Okay, first of all, our chef, the chef, Tim, on the great reviews he's getting with presentation, so my compliments to him. On another note, speaking of the pool, when can we get that entry gate fixed or repaired? Denise, the one that keeps slamming and half the
Yes.
time it's not locked.
The gate, they're thinking it was a lightning strike that shot the motherboard, and they could have gotten a motherboard within a matter of days, but it was over $5,000. And he said to repair it would be several weeks, and I went for repair on it, which was much cheaper. So I will contact them to see what is the ETA on that. Yeah, it should be anytime now. I'll call, and then what I'll do is email the board and let you know what I hear on that.
Okay.
From a liability point of view, it concerns me because, in effect, the gate surrounding that area is not locked. And if someone gains entry, if something happens, we'll get whacked from a liability point of view. I'm not, hopefully Morgan & Morgan's not standing around, but we need to do
We
something.
need to make
out
sure it's secured.
there. Difficult.
Yes.
And at night, it's actually accessible until 11 o'clock at night on a normal time because of the swipe keys, because that's the access they use to get to the gym. So that has always been accessible from, I believe it's 5 a.m. is when it opens until 11 p.m.
Yeah, but the worry is a small child. that
Yeah,
might
child
be
that
wandering over
gets
near the
loose
pool.
or
So we need to
yeah.
make sure that it's secured properly.
Yeah, and we had locked that, I can't remember why, we actually had locks on it, and somebody broke one of those to get in. It's frustrating. But during the closure, we will lock that with an actual chain lock, so that
Okay.
it's not, people not sneaking in on that.
Okay.
All right, Keith, do you have anything to report?
Just a couple little things. One, I had talked about the fence down at the end of
Portofino.
Portofino, back in the pond back there, put that fence up. I have been in touch with the engineer Rick, and he gave me the lines, but we really need to have a surveyor come out. So this isn't going to be a, let's just put up a fence and do it. It has to be surveyed. I do have to get someone in there to bush hog and cut that back. I don't want to cut it back too much, because it is kind of a clandestine, I want to keep that barrier there to help with the fence. But it does have to come down a little bit to, the fence guy said, yeah, we won't come in here, trudge through here until this is cut back. But we need to know the actual line, exactly where it is. So if you want me to move forward and have Rick get us a survey of that specific area, we can move forward with it.
I
Is
would
it
think yes.
something-
I would say yes,
Yeah.
sure.
Okay, then we'll make that happen. In connection with the gates and the gate, the gates going in and out, it's just becoming more and more that I'm sending bills up because of we're having to call these guys because they're just getting sold, and they're used so much that sooner or later we're going to have to probably bite the bullet on redoing those gates, all right, to the new technology, the new system of them opening and closing, because we're just spending lots of money on them coming in and fixing it. Electricity did run in on a couple of them. We have been fried, those gate arms that have been hit so many times, and whacking those boxes. It hasn't been a good thing for it. So, I've gone back to Envision and said, can we sharpen our pencil just a little bit more here? Because, everybody wants to take, but he's gonna do that for us and really get down as close as he can. So
He was at about 30,000, right?
I think it was 35,
32,000.
34 something.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, I've never put in any of those in, so I'm not sure if that's a good cost or, but I'm thinking that's probably with a whole new system up there, I'm thinking that's probably not a bad. And if we can do the same, get that same price and fix these two gates out here, then it'd be all encompassing. And I think it's something that we probably should look at
Okay.
sooner than later. But I'll move forward with this. Yes, sir.
Just a question, Keith. Does this entail putting some of the newer features into our gate entrance and with a homeowner being able to?
No, two different scenarios. This is just the hardware for the gate coming up and down.
Okay,
That box you see out there,
I'm with you. Does that company do what I'm asking?
yes.
Now, we had gotten some information.
Yeah,
Belinda had
We
presented
did, yeah.
some information on that a while ago.
If we're gonna replace something, is it worthwhile at least talking about enhancing what we have? Because calling the gate is old fashioned in terms of, I've got guests coming.
You should definitely consider upgrading your access control software.
Yep. We had a big conversation here not too long ago.
We talked about it. There are other districts where they're upgrading their systems at this point. I have one, and is familiar with it, in Fort Myers, where we just recently upgraded the system. I mentioned it's an extensive process. It's not an easy process to do. But once it's up and running and settled, the efficiency is amazing. I mean, it's,
Lakewood Ranch Country Club just did a similar thing. You can send your guest a QR
Right.
code and they can just hold their phone up.
and they just get
The
scanned
gate
right
pops
in when
open.
they come in, and then they're sent a notification that, the guest has arrived. So there are several systems out there. They're not inexpensive. I'm not gonna lie about that,
Right.
but, it is something that if you are considering replacing your hardware, you should consider, a better access control system than what you have right now.
It's not just an expense side of the coin. Okay, it's a complete teaching and training for residents, all right, how to use this system, all right? Because if they don't use it, and don't listen and don't, come to the meetings and get these, the new codes and all that stuff, it'll be a year-long process, to get it accomplished. So it'll be a little bit of a roll.
That's really realistically speaking.
Yes.
To be honest, a conversion of one system, a district this size took myself and an entire team, I would say 6 months, just to enter all of the data, to make sure that, a lot of the transponders that were not supposed to be programmed were
Right.
deactivated.
Right.
So it's an extensive process.
So give me a ballpark, not to hold you to, but if we're at 35,000 to just fix this, what is the integrated system?
The integrated system, I would say, depending on which vendor,
Right.
and what type of systems you want, average cost $35,000 to $40,000.
In addition.
In addition to the,
So double.
you're talking about, this is the software system?
Yeah.
That's just hardware.
Right. All right.
Depending on the vendor and also depending on what type of services you want to be able to provide via the access control system.
And the company you're working with doesn't do what we're talking about here.
Yes, I believe Paul will do that. Yes, he has that type of, I believe he has that type of technology or, in his wheelhouse.
Worth asking him to at least,
I would say so.
Get an idea.
I mean,
yeah, to just get an idea. I mean, I hate to spend money on an old system when there's such good technology out there. All right, you know what to do.
Got it.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions for Keith? Thank you. On my end, I will announce that the next regular meeting of the Board of Supervisors will be held August 23rd, 2021 at 9:30 a.m. This is where we will hold our public hearing for our final budget. I just want to confirm attendance. I want to make sure that we'll have a quorum. Will everybody be present physically?
Yes.
I will be here.
Ernest, will you be here? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. One thing I did want to report, Rich is aware of this, we did receive another request for production of documents for the hydraulic fuel spills. It's extensive again, but this time, a lot of the documentation that they are requesting is documentation that may or may not be within the possession of the district. So I am going to take some time this week and next week to respond to the request. I just wanted the board to be aware of it. And Rich, I did ask Rich to request an extension.
Yeah.
I believe they were gonna ask for a 30-day extension.
Yeah,
so that we
that's-
could provide the information.
That's what Mark Hanson said. He was going to get there.
Excuse me, Belinda, August 23rd,
23rd, yes.
I'm not back till Labor Day.
Okay, so will you be in attendance via phone?
Yes.
Okay,
And we'll have a quorum.
We're fine.
with the three of us.
We're fine.
any questions for me?
Linda, there was an email, I don't know if you saw it, I think my fellow supervisors saw it, about getting some minutes from meetings. and
I
this-
did. Actually, the homeowner sent me an email on Friday. I was out Thursday, Friday. I don't know if you guys got my auto return message. But I sent the email over to Carrie so that she could send the minutes over. It should take her no more than 5 minutes to do
Okay,
that.
so he's taking care of it?
Yeah.
And you got an explanation why?
Rich responded to the email,
Okay.
but there was sort of a comment made in the email
An inappropriate
about,
comment.
it was very inappropriate, but I'm not gonna respond to that portion of it.
I am.
You can,
Yeah.
but we're just gonna provide documentation.
Okay.
I mean,
And you're gonna take care of it,
it's
Mr.
not a
McCafferty?
difficult task to just call, request the information, rather than making assumptions.
Well, you would think
I
that
already-
this
I addressed
individual.
I addressed that with the homeowner.
Okay,
And I also reminded the homeowner that the minutes are in fact available. They are e-blasted to the entire community. I checked to be sure that I was correct on that. And aside from that, we also have YouTube that remains there forever and ever.
This is also not new. If you go back to the newsletters, you will see references to the minutes, how to obtain the minutes,
Right.
how to request
Yeah,
information.
Right.
It's unfortunate, we do provide the communication with the information, but people just don't read it.
And you remember we discussed
right,
the financial implications of making everything ADA compliant. Interestingly, there's a current TV ad that speaks to that very same
I've seen
issue
it.
about
Yeah.
making your emails
Website.
and such ADA compliant. So it's a fact, and it's very, very, very costly. So we do the best we can, and I think we're doing a fine job in being extremely transparent. And we're never going to please everybody, but I think we're doing a fine job with it.
Any questions for me?
I'll leave this for
besides
Mr. McCafferty.
I know the one.
Any questions? Supervisor request or comments? Were there any supervisor requests or comments?
I have some follow-up information I wanted to share. The Tiki Hut, and Jill is here. The Facilities Committee met earlier last week, and the equipment layout is finalized, and everybody is happy with the equipment layout. The engineer now is working on their portion of being able to hook all of that up from the utility standpoint, the electrical standpoint. We're hopeful that at the September facilities meeting, we're going to have a design that we can share with you at your particular meeting, so we can move this thing along. So that's where it is.
The hospital's still probably going to beat us, though.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about that.
Any other supervisor requests or comments?
Rick, can you do the social committee meeting this Wednesday? Because
Yes, I'll actually remember. Wait,
Okay.
what time is it?
10 o'clock.
No, I have a 10 o'clock doctor's appointment.
I can't
Yeah,
do it
and I
on
can't
Wednesday.
either this week. I have another board meeting.
Okay,
Do they run long? I don't.
No.
I'll get there as soon as I can, but
okay, how about if you do that?
that's all I can do.
Okay, fine.
I know I have a
Would you
doctor's
send a
appointment.
note to, just an email to Linda Catero saying that you're going to be late, but you're going to be there?
Sure.
Thank you.
Who is that?
Linda Catero.
Yes.
Any other supervisor requests or comments?
Nope.
This is a record
I
breaker
was
for
gonna
us.
say, is that a
Oh,
record?
I move we adjourn.
10:52 a.m.
Oh, a record.
Oh, my God.
Is there a second?
Done.
Very good, Ms. Steve. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 10:52 a.m.
Do we get a rebate? Guess not, huh?
So Andy, I want to have a comment about the sunshine law.